William, first of all, wonderful to see Baaeed here and Sheikha Hissa as well. And I wanted to touch on the Shadwell, the importance that this horse has had to Shadwell in what's been a whirlwind journey over the last year or so. How much satisfaction has that given you to see Sheikha Hissa take so much enjoyment in his racing?
Well, obviously, Sheikh Hamdan was a very important part of our operation and racing PLC. And for his daughter to take up the baton has been fantastic, and the great thing is that she's got this horse in her sort of first go at it. So although she's been very keen and had a few horses of her own in the past, and now she's fronting the Shadwell operation, it's absolutely vital that we can provide her with some good horses, and he's one of them.
And at Goodwood and Ascot were the first times that she was able to see him on the racetrack as well, so enjoying it together with those experiences pretty timeless for you as well.
Every trainer wants a satisfied customer, so to speak, and usually when you win, that's what happens. So yeah, I mean, there was a bit of tension, probably more from me than Sheikha Hissa, but yeah, he delivered, thank God.
So let's talk about Goodwood, because a performance that maybe we were all hoping and expecting, and that electric turn of foot he showed, whereas Ascot, with a few words workmanlike maybe. Was it the performance that you always knew that he was capable of showing after some of those words after Ascot?
I'm only really interested in winning. I'm not, you know, he's never going to blitz clear in these races he's running in, and the more he's racing, the more he's not getting idle, but he just does what he needs to do. Rather like his father, and I've said it several times, his father never won by very far, but and subsequently was not ever mentioned in the same breath as Frankel.
Do you think this year he's showing more like that this step up is exactly what he needs?
He's always shown speed. I mean, if you go back to his first ever race, he looked like all he wanted was further. But you know, I believe he'll be better over further. Not better, that's a silly thing to say, but I don't think the trip will be a problem. And I'm really interested, as is Sheikha Hissa, as are Richard Hills and Angus Gold, because, you know, we think he might be just as good, if not better, at that trip. And if he doesn't stay, he doesn't stay. But I'm pretty sure he'll stay. He relaxes well, and I think Jim's pretty confident he'll stay, no problem. So, you know, let's do it and see what happens. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, the challenge is definitely exciting, and especially having a horse like Mishriff to take on when, you know, a brilliant winner last year. If you look through the challenges, knowing sort of the form line with Alenker, who obviously was very close to him last time in the Eclipse, where do you see? How would you see
if the Mishriff that turned up last year appears this year, we'll be in trouble, because he was sensational last year. But it's a horse race, and we may not be at our best. Mishriff may not be at our best, and few, but they're running on their merits, not running in opposition, you know, as helpers to Baaeed.
He's been a pleasure. It was perfect timing, especially at the time that we were shrinking the whole operation, and at the same time, after my father's death, he brought so much joy for me and my family, for sure.
And you went to Ascot knowing that he had so much perhaps pressure on his shoulders to remain unbeaten, but that experience, what was it like for you?
It was my first time being at Ascot racecourse, so it was eye-opening for me. But I don't think when we go to a racecourse, no one's enjoying his time the most as much as Baaeed. He has the most fun going to racecourses, seeing people running, and he thinks he's doing a job at home. So it's just for an owner, it's nice to see a horse that enjoys his job in every aspect. If I come here and see him in the morning, when he's working, on the round gallop, he has his ears pricked, just the way he does it at the racecourse. So it's just a pleasure. He's a pleasure to have, and he's a huge privilege.
And you're so keen and love the racing. You've taken it, adopted it from your father. How proud would he have been to have seen what his legacy has continued, especially a homebred like this?
He would have loved it. He would have loved it, mainly because he comes all the way from Height of Fashion's line, and he comes from a strong line of fillies like Bishire, who's a full sister to Sarayr, Ghanati and Mawathiq's dam. And then he goes down to Rahaib and La Hudud, who did amazing in the breeders filly and turf. And then he comes to Agharid, who won the listed. So it's just a line of hard-working fillies, and we love fillies, my father and I, so it's just a pleasure to have.
And the idea, obviously next week we have 2 races, and William said we've got to enjoy him. We've got to enjoy it because you might not ever find a racehorse like that now. So will you be at York, and will you head to Ascot next for the last 2 races if they might
Inshallah, I hope so. I hope so. I'll be here. If I'm not here for Baaeed, who am I going to be here for?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a privilege and we take it for granted. I don't know the next time I'm going to see a horse like him. Last year I was too stressed watching his races and I didn't get to enjoy it. And I don't know years ahead from now if I'm going to look back and say I enjoyed that. I mean, so I've been telling William and we've been agreeing that we should enjoy it because we don't know the next time we see a horse like him. I mean, Nashwan was our last classic homebred, so it was that meant a lot to my family and we still talk about him. So I hope Baaeed is going to live up to that.
I mean, we thought a lot of him. He's always been a nice horse, but yeah, we didn't. I don't think at that point we were dreaming this big. Yeah. You're always looking forward until the bubble bursts, I think, and the bubble so far, touch wood, hasn't burst. So.
And you know him from riding him every day, what the feel he gives and the speed he shows as well. He's obviously a very speed-based horse, but what do you think about the idea of 1 mile 2 furlongs and what it could bring out of him? Yeah,
I almost think he could be better over 1 mile 2. He's got the temperament for it, and that's the main thing. The speed he can use at any point in the race. He's not waiting to be unleashed. He's there and he will go when you tell him to. He's not pulling and wanting to go. He travels very strongly and he just goes when you tell him. He's waiting for you to push the button on him. I get up every morning just to come and see him, really, and he's the first horse I see when I come in here and the last horse I see before I go home. But it's the best thing that's going to happen in my career, unless I'm very, very lucky, and I doubt I will be. Yeah. But yeah, I said to the lads in the yard that this is probably the pinnacle of my career in racing, and I've just got to enjoy it whilst it's here and not be too nervous when he runs.